a couple weeks ago, and right now both clubs here are gearing up for sectional play, so they're going to be pretty tough defensively. When you get pitching like this, especially from Wheeler, just get the ground ball situations. The majority of the time, the ground balls are going to be there, and both these clubs field exceptional.
Hank Wheeler on the hill again for North. It's Craig Angle for Reitz. Reitz in North. Huskies and Panthers next on TV 52. Welcome back to Bosse Field, and alongside Doug Emig, I'm Darren Smith. Reitz in North, as mentioned, 10-9, 10-10. The extra game going to the Reitz Panthers. Two teams we talk about outstanding defensively. Sometimes they struggle offensively, but then again, that's baseball. And welcome to the stretch half, Doug Emig.
On the mound today for the Reitz Panthers will be Craig Angle, making his 5th appearance of the season. Has pitched 12 innings, allowed 12 base hits, 13 runs, 7 of those earned. Has also issued 12 walks and picked up 6 strikeouts. Overall record of 0-1, 4.08 ERA.
And completing the battery will be Kevin Bullock behind the plate, Charles Gilmore at first, Corey Lamb, the second baseman, Louis Meredith, the shortstop, and Dennis Maynard at third. Todd Hayes, Sean Livers, and Bill Hemmons, that's left, center, and right field. And so maybe one of the stronger defensive teams. Everyone talks about Memorial, but very quietly so. Reitz has compiled some exciting moves, especially in the infield in their own right, Doug Emig.
We talked about it a little bit in the pregame. Defensive-wise, majority of these Evansville City schools are pretty much fundamentally sound when defense comes around. You're going to have a lot of ground ball situations where you're going to see some good range, especially from the middle infielders around the second and short third base area.
Ben Schmidt will lead things off here for the North High Huskies. Again, they are 10-9 under Dan Sparrow. And the Reitz Panthers 10-10 to Steve Johnston. 415 straightaway center, 375 power alleys, and 315 down the lines. The right fielder Ben Schmidt to start things off here at Bosse Field.
This afternoon's umpires behind the plate, James Dunlap, and on the bases, Brian Garland.
Dunlap has been around, what, a couple of decades now, hasn't he?
He's, I believe, in his 20 or 21st year as far as officiating. He does both baseball and also basketball during the winter months.
First from Angle a ball, Dion Wingooder will bat second. Hank Wheeler, the pitcher. Jason Craddock, Adam Hines, Randy Brucken, Kevin Hartwick, Ryan Connolly, the DH, and Matt Bollman, the shortstop.
Setting the Reitz Panthers defensively, Angle and Bullock the battery. First base, Charles Gilmore, Corey Lamb at second, Sean Livers at shortstop, Dennis Maynard at third. Left, center, and right, Todd Hayes. And I've got Livers in 2 places here.
Livers and Hammonds.
Right.
On the ground here, Dennis Maynard, we've talked about him, score the first, 5-3, and there's one away.
And I guess I should put Louis Meredith at shortstop.
Dion Wingooder, the center fielder for the North High Huskies, and then Hank Wheeler. Hank Wheeler came into the week, I think, second, Doug, in the SIAC.
Leading the city hitters, and we'll talk about him a little bit when he comes up. Wingooder at 265 for North on the season, has also picked up 3 home runs. So between him and Wheeler, pretty much the power of this North High team.
Then you've got Craddock batting fourth, and Adam Hines not bad either. North again, 10-9. And again, the 1-0 pitch from Craig Angle, and this one is taken upstairs. Will leave the infield. In comes Sean Livers from center field, and there's 2 away.
That'll bring up Wheeler, who is on the mound today, 2-1 coming into today's play. Overall, he's batting at .482, 27 hits and 56 at-bats. He's also picked up 6 doubles, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs.
The young man from Castle is still up there also, I see.
Jason Tolley leading the SIAC as far as overall average at .548. Then you've got Wheeler, Colty from Central, also another Castle. Jason Craddock, who is on deck, is hitting .453. So you're going to find possibly a lot of offense out of this North lineup here today.
Adam Hines to follow Craddock, and again mentioned he's not bad either. You take a look at these 2 teams, and the Huskies and the Panthers, and watch them defensively. There's one between the gap, and no one can get to that one as that one goes all the way back to the warning track and off the wall on a 1-hopper. He'll at least get 2. Hank Wheeler's heading for 3, and he'll have that standing up. A 2-out triple for Hank Wheeler, the soon-to-be Evansville ace.
pretty much led this North team as far as offense all year long. Earlier in the season, his average is over the 500 mark, but the more times you get plate appearances, that average is going to fall a little bit. That'll bring up the catcher, Jason Craddock. Not bad himself at 453, 24 hits and 53 at-bats, has also picked up a home run.
You mentioned the other night during the Aces game, Sal Fasano will probably take the catching mark behind the plate for the Aces next year, but it's going to be hard to keep Hank Wheeler's bat out of the Aces lineup next year, as it will be Jeff Effingers.
He will be a valuable backup just in case an injury might happen again, as we saw this year. Timmy Marks will be graduating, so they won't have the luxury of being able to use him as they have the past couple years. But I'm sure Hank will adjust well. It's still going to be a big difference between high school ball and college ball, and it might take him a while to adjust.
Aces will lose Tim Marks.
One of the many that will be missed next year.
And they got a total of 7 leaving, and we'll highlight them next Monday night on the press box. But in comes the new youth from the SIAC, as mentioned, Wheeler and Effinger. And maybe a couple others before it's over. We can also afford to Legion ball. And Peyton Funkhauser also expected to have some darn strong teams, as they always do.
Always seems around summertime the two Legion teams locally have a pretty good nucleus as far as picking up some of the quality high school players, give them a chance to play during the summertime. Usually when that postseason tournament rolls around, you're going to have one or probably both of them advancing past the state tournament.
The runners at the corners here with that walk to Craddock, and Adam Hines now, the third baseman, takes a look at ball one.
Hines, another one with the high average at 413. Overall, he's 12 for 29. Not as many at-bats as Wheeler and Craddock, but the time he has been in there offensively has done the job.
1-0 pitch, and this one taken over the head of Louis Meredith. Will score Wheeler from third, and North strikes first on the scoreboard. 1-0 the Huskies.
And we talked in the pregame about how comparable these two teams were, 10-10 and 10-9. This is the second meeting of these two teams this year. North was victorious in the first one with a 4-1 win over Reitz. And talking to some of the people around here, not really a game that Reitz felt they should have lost, as much has been the way for Reitz and North all season, not really getting the quality wins that they expected early in the season.
For the 5th time, the first ball issued is a ball. Randy Brucken, the first baseman. First and second for the Huskies, but 2 away. And already Hertweck on deck.
Randy comes in at 310 overall, so a lot of high averages on this North team, especially when you've got a 482, 453, 413. Brucken next in line at 310. Then you've got a Ryan Connolly, who is a DH this afternoon, also right around 400 at 388.
Maynard won't make too many mistakes down there at the Hart corner. One will score, and North will leave 2, and 1.5 inning of play. It's 1-0 the Huskies. 52. Hard-hitting Hank Wheeler, sometimes known for catching and sometimes known for pitching also, Doug. Comes in with a record of 2-1, making his 4th appearance on the season. Basically, as we talked about in the pregame, not really a pitcher-type pitcher. He's basically used as far as giving Danny Sparrow another arm out there. When you get involved in these city contests, you want to try to use as few pitchers as you can. And both teams struggling right now, using a lot of pitching, especially in the relief department. So anytime you can get another arm out there that's going to be fresh, basically do what Hank does. He goes out there, throws a good game. Not a lot of pitching possibilities as far as his future is concerned. His main job is to catch and also be in the offensive lineup. But does a good job out there locating his pitches. Tries to get mainly his fastball over the plate early in the count. Craddock will do the catching behind the plate for North. Randy Brucken at first, Kevin Hertweck at second, Matt Bollman the shortstop, Adam Hines at third, Dave Goebel, Dion Wingirter, and Ben Schmidt left center and right field for the North High Huskies. And Kevin Bullock, the catcher, will lead things off here for the Reitz Panthers.
Kevin had .339 on the season for Reitz. He's got a total of 53 at-bats, picked up 18 hits, 4 doubles, 3 triples, and a home run. He's also picked up 15 RBIs.
First 2 issued from Wheeler, a ball and a strike. Scott Hart, the DH. Todd Hayes will bat out of the 3-hole. He is the left fielder. Charles Gilmore clean up. The first baseman, Bill Hammond's batting 5th. And then it's Louis Meredith, Sean Livers, Corey Lamb, and Craig Angle, the pitcher, batting 9th for the Reitz Panthers. Just a bit low, and it's good to see Hank also bury around the infield. Talked about behind the plate. We know what his hitting can do, so why not pick up pitching? And he doesn't do it bad, as mentioned, Doug. 2-1, and you've hit him right on the head as far as what we're seeing here on the outset.
Basically just going to go out, try to throw strikes. If he gets a hit on the count, then you might see some of his breaking stuff. But his main job is out there to get balls over the plate, let these right-handers take a whack at it, and hopefully he can get some ground balls, easy fly balls, and get out some innings.
Not the way you want to do it, but work the first batter full, Kevin Bullock, and here's your 3-2 pitch, and we'll do that again.
Kevin, a pretty good leadoff hitter for Reitz. Overall, we talked about his average. He's been right around the 350 mark most of the season. Also a good man up there as far as possibly drawing walks. He has 16 walks, has only struck out 8 times.
Upstairs, I think Wheeler originally lost that one. It's in foul territory. Wheeler did not see it.
Well, in a situation like that, you're going to have your first baseman, Brucken, coming in, also catcher Craddock. Hank's job mainly out there is to do the traffic as far as letting who should know who to get the ball. If he sees Brucken coming in, probably is going to get a better jump than Craddock off the plate area. So Hank's job basically is to get over there, direct the traffic, and say, Jason, you back off, Randy's got it, or vice versa.
Still with Kevin Bullock, batter number 1 for Reitz. An anxious Scott Hart waiting on deck. And again, it's the 3-2 from Wheeler. And that's tough to let go after struggling that long.
Well, that's just a quality at bat from Bullock. He worked the count to 3-2 and didn't really get the pitch he was looking for, but it was close enough that he was going to have to take a whack at it. Fouled off 2 or 3 pitches, waited maybe for another chance, and Hank just let up a little bit and got a ball.
Leadoff walk to Bullock and the DH Scott Hart.
Scott had 250 on the season, has picked up 8 hits and 28 at-bats.
Looking for a stolen base and didn't make the tag. The throw was there, but just getting behind the tag there was Bullock, so he's already in scoring position. We talk about the running and the base stealing. Very fast, I've noticed, Doug, in the SIAC.
Well, most of the teams play each other so much. Today might not be quite an exception as usual because you're used to seeing the pitchers. Now, Reitz maybe has not seen Wheeler on the mound so much this year, so it's kind of guessing as far as trying to read his move and get a good jump.
I think we looked at this. We were possibly looking at a Fetcher and Dillo matchup. Wouldn't that have been outstanding?
Well, Mike Fetcher continues to lead the staff for the Reitz Panthers. Struggles a little bit whenever he does not get a lot of offensive support. And Dillo is pretty much the ace for the North staff.
0-2 after walking the first. That one is tipped back. Todd Hayes awaits on deck. And Bullock out by about 4 steps, down at second.
It has been the case most of the games we have done this year. A lot of breeze out there. It's blowing out towards the left field this afternoon. A good sunny day, so it's going to be comfortable out there for the players, and with that breeze, keep things a little bit cool.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Mentioned Hayes and Gilmore next for Reitz. Talk about strength here in your hitting lineup. You didn't really plug the hitters at top simply because we've been impressed by the defense of both these schools. Again, the 3-2 pitch, and this one taken to David Goebel in left field. May have misread that one. It's up and over his head as it rolls back to the track. Reitz will at least tie it here with nobody out. We're tied at 1, Doug.
Well, he saw the ball right off the bat and then kind of hit a wet spot out or twisted his foot, got caught in the turf a little bit, went down to his knees, and then when he came back up, he lost it in the sun, so he had no chance of catching that at all. And I think the way he read it early, he was coming in, he should have been going back. So RBI triple for Scott Hart. Tied this game at 1. That'll bring up the left fielder, Todd Hayes.
Walk and a triple. Hayes now, and then Gilmore. So with nobody out, here come the Reitz bats.
And if you're North and Hank Wheeler, this is not the way you wanted to start this ball game. Basically, go out there, try to throw strikes. He struggled, went 3 and 2 on both of the first 2 batters.
There already be some bullpen action on the north. Wheeler has worked the count full to both Bullock and Hart. 1 in, 190 feet away.
Hayes on the season at 250. He's picked up a total of 16 hits and 64 bats, and there we see the first strikeout of the afternoon.
Maybe much needed there for confidence.
That'll bring up first baseman Charles Gilmore. Another one of these with the high average for the Reitz team at 372. Has a total of 16 hits and 43 plate appearances, 5 doubles, and also has picked up a total of 12 RBIs.
Puts Bill Hammonds on the on-deck circle. Gilmore here in cleanup. Go a lot on the inside here.
And he's throwing pretty hard right now. You can get a good attest to that by the sound of the leather popping in Craddock's glove.
This may fall and will. A one-hopper to the center fielder, Dion Wingirter, and Reitz jumps on top of North by a score of 2-1, and this just the first inning.
And if this is going to be anything like we're going to see the rest of the afternoon, look for a lot of runs to be scored. Usually on the high school level, you're going to have your one dominant pitcher that's going to lead your staff, and you've got Fetcher and Dillo who are not in action this afternoon. So basically the other guys are just out there like Hank is, try to throw some strikes, get ahead on the count. But usually the hitting is going to be a lot superior than the second or third type of pitchers.
Looking for something down at second. I thought for a moment that might have curved foul.
Well, that was down the line. Third baseman Adam Hines went back, had his back to the infield, was going full out, and almost made a good catch. It was coming back towards the infield so much the time whenever the ball is over in the foul territory, it's going to blow the ball back towards the infield. And just could not get to that ball, and the left fielder, Goebel, was just too deep. He could not get over there either.
Hammonds at first. Gilmore at second. Livers on deck, and Meredith takes this one to the third baseman, Adam Hines, and it's foul. Here you and I came out at the top of the broadcast talking about the defense, and these teams show us some offense early.
Meredith on the season at 346. Overall, he's picked up 17 hits and 49 plate appearances, a pair of doubles, a triple. He's also got 14 RBIs. Another one of the leaders as far as on-base percentage-wise. He's picked up a total of 12 walks on the season. And stolen base department, he's 4 out of 4.
Talking about the strength of this conference, and we were kidding around earlier today. If you combine Evansville into 3 schools, say like a Terre Haute, a North, South, and let's say an Evansville Catholic, combining Modern Day and Memorial, we'd have the strongest city teams, I think, in the state of Indiana.
It would be a good possibility with all the talent, and Evansville is kind of unfortunate to have so many high schools versus a Terre Haute where they have so many schools feeding into the 1 or 2 different programs.
And to Ben Schmidt in right field. Maybe taking off a little too early was Gilmore. And now there's 2 away. But on a plus side of that, with so many schools, you're going to see more players, and I guess obviously have more players get to see some playing time.
Right. The talent is going to be a little bit spread out more, and you're going to have your 3 or 4 that are going to be your quality players. 4 or 5 others mediocre where they do a good job, and then you're going to have the other guys that don't get a lot of playing time. But since we have so many schools, you're going to see more involvement from the student athletes and a better chance for everybody to get some playing time.
I talked to Mac LaRue, and I say it's a shame we have 2 Legion teams, and then he goes, well, wait a minute, we have more players who can participate now in the summer.
Right. This is the center fielder, Sean Livers, at 222 on the season. He's picked up 4 hits and 18 at-bats.
Batter number 7 here for Reitz. So it's the offense here in inning number 1. And at this pace, will be done about midnight tonight, Doug.
Well, hopefully not. They've got another game out here after this one, so I'm sure both pitchers will settle down after this first inning. Anytime you go out there cold, and once again, Hank can't find the ball, and right now he gives way to his defense to come in and get that.
Adam Hines from third, and Reitz does some damage in the bottom half of the first inning. They lead by 1. Our score 2-1 after 1, and you're watching the SIAC from Bosse Field right here on TV 52. Overall, we saw 13 batters in that first inning, and for their efforts, 2-1. Reitz on top by 1, top half of the second inning. And the bottom 3 for the North High Huskies, Hertwick, Connolly, and Matt Bollman. Connolly, the DH.
Hertwick, the second baseman for North, comes in at 220. The main job of these guys, 7, 8, and 9, is try to get on base any way they can. Connolly at 388, so he is one of the few down in the bottom of the lineup with the high average. He's not seen a whole lot of playing time, but once again, when he's in there, he has produced. Hertwick at 220 has pretty good speed. Right now, third baseman Dennis Maynard knows that, so he's playing in at third base for the possible bunt.
I think the most dangerous, perhaps the most trickiest, Doug, especially in the high school, we have a lot of healthy batting averages, maybe there at third base.
Well, they call it the hot corner as far as the major league is concerned, and really you have to be a good defensive person to enable yourself to be able to play that position. At the high school level, you're going to have a lot of right-handed hitters, also left-handed hitters that are going to go to the opposite field, so you really have to be on your toes much of the game down there at third.
Second walk given up here by Craig Angle. Craddock a walk back in the first. They're trying to keep Hertwick close at first, and Ryan Connolly is the DH.
Connolly at 388, 14 hits and 36 plate appearances, has also scored a total of 11 runs for North.
He bats for Goebel, the left fielder. So much on the high school level, you'll see your pitcher bat.
Majority of the time, the pitcher in the high school level never see a possible stolen base here. Good throw.
Nice throw there from Kevin Bullock, making sure that Meredith still had the ball. And that's how our first is recorded. It's Hertwick caught stealing.
Pretty good arm there from Bullock. He got a pretty good jump. Hertwick did off the pitcher, Craig Angle, but the ball was up in the strike zone a little bit, easy to handle, so Bullock could catch it and almost throw all in one motion.
I'm noticing also much improvement in those men who wear the mask behind the plate.
We were referring to the pitcher as your better athlete. You also have to have a strong catcher because he's basically in charge of the ball game as far as calling the pitches for his pitcher. You rely on him a lot for his defense, knocking pitches down whenever you've got runners on base, trying to keep them from advancing on a wild pitch or a possible pass ball. So the pitcher is important, but you can't forget about the catcher. He is basically the field leader out there.
The 3-2 is taken down here. Again, it's Meredith. Meredith to Gilmore, and there's 2 away. Looked for a moment like a long inning. Starts to move right along. Hertwick caught stealing, and Connolly goes down 6-3.
And that was a pretty good play by Louis out there at shortstop. He knows that with this grass infield, when the ball hits it, it's going to be slowed down a little bit. So as a defensive player in the infield, you're going to have to charge those balls, and it went out rather slowly. But he did a good job of getting the ball and then planted himself and made a strong throw to first.
Batter number 9, Matt Bollman.
Matt is only appearing for the 4th time at the plate so far this year. He is 1 for 3, so his average at 333. Giving some quality relief here for Coach Sparrow and the North Huskies.
1 for 3, 333. I wouldn't even need a calculator to figure that one out, Doug.
And I will say one thing, your math has improved.
Hey, been hitting the books. You know, it's getting close to finals time.
Well, the colleges are in their finals right now, and high school should be coming up sometime around the end of this month, right around sectional time for them.
Speaking of which, tomorrow night's game, which you'll see here on TV 52, but the Aces will not have Brad Smith miss that defense, as he'll be taking an accounting exam, and Brad got himself a job right here in town, so that is good news for another Evansville graduate.
And typical of Evansville players, they are the athletes as well as the students, spending a lot of time on the field as far as practice work and stuff like that, but you cannot forget about the school work. And that's basically why you are there, is to get an education.
We talked about Scott Hebner. He was almost a 4.0, I believe. Nothing in one here from Craig Angle. And again, it's hit on the ground. Nice grab there by Maynard. We talked so much about this guy defensively, and there's one of the reasons why. This time, the North High Huskies will leave one. And after 1 1/2, it's still Reitz on top by a 1991 SIAC on TV 52. Alongside Doug Emick, I'm Darren Smith. Bottom half of the second inning, back onto Bossy Field. 8-9-1, Lamb Angle, and back on top to Kevin Bullock.
And as we talked about settling down after that first inning, both pitchers struggled a little bit in the first inning. North coming across with 1 run, Reitz 2. Good job there by Craig Angle on the top of the second inning, and we see Hank come out and do basically the same thing. Get the ball over for strikes. Let these Reitz hitters get a hack at that ball. You got your guys out there to field it.
1 pitch, 1 out. Corey Lamb down. Piece of cake for Wheeler Brucken.
This will bring up the pitcher, Craig Angle. On the season at 267. He's picked up a total of 15 hits and 56 at bats. A double, a couple of triples, and has also picked up 5 RBIs.
Top of the order, Bullock waits on deck. 1 quick out here in the bottom half of the second inning. If you're just joining us, Reitz on top of North here, early 2-1. This season, especially in the high school, is somewhat blown by. We were piecing together our 91 postseason broadcast schedule today, and that's just a couple of weeks away, Doug.
Sectional usually starts sometime around the end of the month of May, and I believe this month it will be the 29th on a Monday. And the Evansville sectional should be a good one this year because of the parity. Everybody's pretty much even. Everybody has one ace on the mound, and then we see a good catch by Goebel out in left field.
Goebel has followed it nicely. Sometimes you lose it in the bright sky, and especially as big as the outfield is, there are 2 away.
Got a pretty good jump on that ball. It looked at first like he was not going to be able to get to it, but it was high enough to where it enabled him to get back and get underneath the ball, and he knew exactly where he was. They've got the red rock area out there that acts as a warning track before you get to the fence area. So basically you just have to run the ball down. Once you feel that rock underneath your feet, you know you're close to the fence.
I guess we're approaching something like 35 games you and I have done it here already, Doug. And we've seen 2 crash the wall, and Corbin Mays and Eric Danapolis over at Notre Dame.
And they were both going back at full speed when they hit the fence. Danapolis able to come up with a catch. The Harrison player was going back, Mays, as far as trying to get a home run ball off the bat of Robbie Kent for Memorial. And he ended up hitting one of the metal poles in between the fence area and took a gash under his chin, and they weren't sure if he was going to be okay for a while, but we saw him about a week later back in the lineup.
Tough kid. It's going to be even tougher picking our TV 52 all SIAC team, which we're going to have to do in a couple of weeks here. Wheeler makes quick work this time. He sits him down in order, 1-3 F7, and that K. It's his first on the day, and you've seen 2 from Bossy Field. You're watching the 1991 SIAC on TV 52. Well, be sure to be listening in tomorrow night, maybe about this time. We'll release the winner of our guest announcer of Aces Baseball. Of all the entries we received, we will pick one tomorrow night on the air, Doug, and that should be interesting to see who can come up here and call an inning or 2 about Aces Baseball on TV 52.
A crucial time in the broadcast. We'll see if we can't get an orchestra up here with a drum roll and elect someone specifically to be the person responsible for drawing out that name, so nobody will think it'll be rigged or anything.
I want to thank all the people for writing in, and there can only be one, Doug. Only one. We'll do it again. And one down low.
Well, it should be a lot of fun for the eventual winner, just to see exactly what it's like to get up here and try to tell everybody about the game of baseball and describe the goings-on about the strategies, possible sacrifice bunt situations. And if you know a lot about baseball, it helps a lot. So hopefully we won't embarrass anybody too much up here and let them take their whack at it.
2-2 here to Dion Wingirter. Doing both radio and television, I would say that if you're going to start out, radio would be a little bit tougher because you got to explain more. On TV, sometimes we just sit back and let the pitcher speak for itself.
Well, whenever you have the luxury of having cameras out here and they can show what's going on, you don't really have to describe everything that happens out there. They can see what they see, and then we see a strikeout.
Which you could have talked right through because I saw him swing and miss.
Well, you have to make note of that is the first strikeout in the afternoon for Craig Angle. Brings up Hank Wheeler, who picked up a triple and came around to score the north run back in the first inning off the single by Adam Hines.
You can also see the mistakes we talk about. I think I gave Wheeler 1 strikeout. He has 2. He had Hayes earlier. He takes a look at ball 1 there.
Hank came in at .482. We talked about his overall average. When you have somebody that's capable of producing the numbers that Hank is, majority of the time in there we see another shot out into right field.
This is going to shot over the head of Bill Hammonds. He's way back, and he holds on. Nice grab by Hammonds right at the edge of what we call the warning track.
And give a lot of credit to the Reitz coaching staff for defensing the right fielder that way. They know Wheeler has a potential of possibly hitting one out, so he's going to play a little bit deeper than he would on maybe the first 2 or 3 hitters in the lineup or the bottom 3 or 4. You have to position your outfielders knowing what the pitch is going to be, also the capability of that hitter.
Top half of the third. We've gone rather quickly after seeing 13 batters combined in the top and bottom of the first inning. And on our way to another 1-2-3.
Jason Craddock, the catcher, drew a walk back in the first inning, was left stranded, or was a force-out victim at third base to get out of that inning back in the first. Came in at .453, another one of the top leading hitters in the city.
Two and 1 here to Craddock.
And that pitch right there is some type of breaking pitch, just a little bit up in the strike zone. The location as far as being over the plate was right there. He just needs to work down with that pitch a little bit.
Angle gets ahead in the count, and I watched him earlier this year do the same thing. Starts to go way outside.
Well, when you have the luxury of being ahead on the count, 0-1 or 1-2 or 0-2, you can come in with some type of breaking pitch, get something out of the strike zone, not necessarily right over the plate, to where maybe you can get the hitter to go outside of his usual hitting frame, maybe take something on the outside part of the plate or brush him back on the inside and then come back with a breaking pitch.
Fourth walk given up there by Angle. Adam Hines a single back in the first.
He is responsible for the lone north run, driving in Hank Wheeler from third.
Wheeler just got a hold of 2 deep. I mentioned the triple in that last one. Right at the warning track. It had a shot, I'll tell you. 1-0 from Angle. See, if we were on radio, we have to explain foul tip back. So there's a difference.
Big difference. And it's really hard in the first anyway, of making the transition
to go from one to another,
radio
absolutely.
to TV.
Jack Baca, the Cardinals announcer, will tell you that. He, for years and years, it was just radio, and then they turned him over into TV, and it's tough at first.
Still has a tendency of trying to describe too much, and you really, although most people won't realize that.
Right.
And if you're in the business and you hear somebody and you're watching them on TV, and you can tell if they're used to calling a radio game when they start calling, you know, the 1-2 pitch, and here it comes, or something like that.
Foul here on the third base side. Craddock now down at second. We fall into sometimes talking too much. We started basketball, as a matter of fact. But sometimes it's hard to get caught up in the excitement. Down here at third, Maynard, nice throw. Not too much you could do with that one.
Not really. That ball was hit right around the third base area, went over the bag in fair territory, even though Dennis ended up fielding it in foul territory. His only play was at first, and it was such a long throw, and the speed of Hines enabled him to beat that out for a base hit.
Trying to tie it up with the Huskies, 90 feet away. Your tying run, it's 2-1 Reitz. Here in the top half of the third, high school, scheduled for 7, and Randy Brucken ended the first and has a chance to end another one.
Brucken 0 for 1 today, hit into a fielder's choice back in the first inning, came in at 310 overall for North.
Short breeze towards left field, nothing dominating. Welcome to May. Maynard holds on again. Throws a little off, but make the tag. Gilmore tags him, and nothing coming across here for North anyway. They'll leave a couple, and after 2 1/2, Wright still has the lead, a score of 2-1. As you're watching the 1991 SIAC, it's high school baseball on TV 52. Wright's Panthers entering at 10-10. And for the moment, holding on to a 2-1 lead, all scoring done in the first inning. Welcome to the bottom half of the third. Hits even at 3 apiece, but where it counts, it's Wright's by 1.
Basically, as we said it would, struggling a little bit in the first inning, both Wheeler and Angle. Anytime you go out there in that first inning, you got to get used to the mound situations. You can warm up all you want in the bullpen area, but it's going to be a little bit different scenario once you get on the actual mound. Butterfly's a little bit, maybe a little bit nervous, trying to work so much into the strike zone area instead of just concentrating on throwing the ball. And both have settled down after that first inning.
Read an article the other day, I think it was in USA Today, where today's pitchers, maybe on any level, and more so the high school, are taking less time in between from day one to maybe the next day they pitch. Instead of pitching maybe once or twice a week, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Well, I think that all depends on how much you pitch in your previous outings. You're not going to throw somebody 2 and 3 times a week if they go 7 or 9 innings. If they only get 4 or 5 innings of work, you want to keep them fresh to where you might throw them another inning or 2 a day or 2 later just to keep that arm in shape.
Big cut here, Scott Hart, the DH.
And Scott produced the first of 2 runs for Reitz back in the first inning with an RBI triple to left field. Came in at 250 on the season. Scott's another one of the pitchers, also part of the offensive lineup. Usually when he's on the mound, he's going to be in there hitting for himself. Today, playing the DH role for third baseman Dennis Maynard.
So many baseball fans want to rid the DH for life.
Well, I think it's a good move as far as your lower level of ball. You're going to allow somebody else an opportunity maybe to get, you know, some wax in there versus not being strong defensively. But as far as the major leagues are concerned, I've always been against it, and they need to do something either one way or another. They can't really have the American League with the DH and the National League not. And I think once they decide, it's either going to be in both or none.
Wheeler's only option to Brucken at first, but Hayes gets the job done. Hart now down at second.
And not really something you expect out of your number 3 hitter. Hayes came in at 250, was a strikeout victim back in the first inning, but showed his good fundamental of baseball right there. He had a runner at first base, nobody out. You need to get him over to second base in scoring position and lay down a perfect bunt.
Big Charles Gilmore. Single, stranded at second, also picked up an RBI back in that first. And this one again is high to the outfield. Goebel way back in left field. Makes the play, and there is quickly 2 out.
And the sun, not really much of a factor this afternoon. It is out, but basically covered a little bit by the cloud area, so the outfielders are not going to have a lot of problem with the sun today. Playing around here, knowing this ballpark helps a lot. The majority of these city schools try to play as many games as they can here at Bosse Field. The sectional will be held here, so the more familiar you are with the territory, especially in the outfield, because it is so deep in the alleys and the straightaway center field, the more you play, the more you're going to get used to, and you can basically read a ball off the bat and know exactly where it's going to go.
I think baseball, more than any other sport, has the true home field advantage.
Especially whenever you get into a big ballpark like this, and we see that a lot on the college level whenever the visiting clubs come in to play the aces, where they're not used to the big outfield area and they might play a little bit too shallow, or they see the wall way back there, they might move back 3 or 4 steps to where they're used to playing, and it's going to get into trouble. They're going to have base hits fall in front of them, or if they're playing too shallow, they're going to get the ball hit over them.
2-1 here. The count to Bill Hammonds, just missing on the outside.
Hammonds came in at 363 for Reitz. Total of 33 at-bats, has picked up 12 hits.
Fights it off, and Wheeler has been 3-2 a couple of times.
Well, his first two hitters back in the first inning, Bullock and Hart, he went 3-2 on both of those, and they fouled off a couple of pitches trying to get their pitch they were looking for. Ended up eventually walking Bullock and then giving up the triple to Hart.
Got him. As he ended the second, he does the same way here in the third. And we have played 3 complete. Wright still has the lead by a score of 2-1. We're back with more in Dortson Wright's high school baseball. One of the great many umpires and officials we talked about, James Dunlap, behind the plate this afternoon.
And he is in the position right now that if I had my choice every game, that's where I'd be, behind the plate.
Now, why is that? What's wrong with the field?
Well, I feel, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be staying with the game more as far as responsibilities. With pitch to pitch, you're going to be alert more. You're responsible for calling the balls and strike on every pitch, so you have to gear yourself, maintain your concentration. Whereas if you're out there on the bases, if you've got a slow game, a lot of walk situation like that, you're going to have a daydream situation. And there we see a line after the shortstop, Louis Meredith, for the first out. But getting back to the umpiring standpoint, I feel I do a better job behind the plate just because my attention span is kept more by being involved with each pitch.
Hurt out, popping out there to Meredith, and Connolly, the DH. Nice size customer.
Ryan, a ground out victim back in the second inning, came in at 388, another one of the good batting averages on this North High team. You look down the lineup, you got 482, 453, 413, 388, and that is 3, 4, 5, and 8 respectively. You know the possibility for scoring a lot of runs is there. Just don't want to press too much. Wait for the pitches to come in, look for that one you're looking for, and then take it.
Connolly's always impressed me with his size and speed combined.
But when you're that big and you still have the possibility of beating out the base hits, it's kind of a deceptive type of speed where if you hit a ground ball to the shortstop or third baseman, they see how big you are. They might not hurry their throw as much as versus a smaller, fleet of foot person, and a lot of times you're going to beat out some infield base hits just because that is deceptive.
Pretty solid in the arms too, Connolly. No slouch at all. 3-2, and there's some of the power lifted high to Todd Hayes in left field, and there are 2 away.
And both pitchers have settled down rather well after that first inning when both allowed 1 run if you were Reitz and 2 runs if you were North. This will bring up Matt Bollman, the shortstop, drew a walk back in the first inning and was forced out down at second base.
This one foul, and no one's going to get to that one, not even with the speed of Bullock behind the plate. 0-1 from Angle.
But talking about Dunlap, has been around a long time. We talked he does basketball and also baseball. He's also an instructor. He's a German teacher up at Castle. He holds an umpiring or officiating class during the winter months through the continuing education department out at USI. And if anybody is interested in getting into any type of umpiring, especially, and that was our cameraman, then he just got an error.
He dropped it. Todd Suter drops the ball.
Way to go, Suter. Your only chance all year.
Hey, we saw Larry Pollock Bubbles catch one off the roof a couple of weeks ago, and Suter's going to say he didn't have a glove, but Pollock didn't have a glove.
Well, he was looking up here, so he knows we saw it, and we'll not let him forget that for a while.
Here's Maynard back to Charles Gilmore. And again, they go in order. That's 1, 2, 3. 3 1/2 in the book, 2-1 Reitz, and you're watching the 1991 Southern Indiana Athletic Conference High School Baseball on TV 52. Here he is, EC. That's E for cameraman. Todd Suter is 0 for 1 on the season, and he may not get another chance.
Oh, sure hands down there.
He's a Dodgers fan, which is another problem with him.
Well, at least he's not wearing his cap today.
Todd Suter, you're 0 for 1.
If he would have had his hat, he probably would have taken it off and could have caught it that way.
Sure.
Knowing that the fumbling fingers let him down.
Back to the real athletes. Louis Meredith starts things off here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. For everything.
Well, you know he's going to have some type of excuse. Well, I was protecting the camera. I didn't want to get the camera hit by the ball. I wasn't worried about catching it.
Yeah.
Just shows what type of athletes we have here behind our TV 52 crew.
That's why they're here, and that's why you and I are up here. Nice grab here. Wheeler. Obvious to Brucken, 1 away. Moving right along since that first.
The way it started out, we looked like we were going to be in for a offensive burst from both teams. 3 runs scored in that first inning. Goose eggs on the board since then. 1 3-0 for North, 2 3-0 for Reitz. And that'll bring up the center fielder, Sean Livers, a line-out victim to the third baseman, Adam Hines, back in the first inning.
Looked for a moment like Hill Street Blues was in jeopardy at 10. Bottom of the 4th, and Wright's holding on 2 to 1. Again, as mentioned, all runs being scored, or the 3 that have been scored in the first. Lamb and Angle will round out your Wright's 9 for a second time.
Good example of just how funny this game of baseball can be. You can see just about anything happen, and you'd never know what to expect next.
We saw Bossy in Modern Day last week, one of the best games I've seen probably in about a year. Right down to the wire.
Yeah, I'm sure that that's a game that Coach May and the Bulldogs would like to forget.
Yep.
But just like we said, anything can happen at any time during the ball game.
Matter of fact, we saw a Little League game on Saturday morning where that was decided late also on. Excellent pitching. 2-2 here to Sean Livers.
Livers came in at 222, 4 hits and 18 plate appearances. Not really seeing a lot of playing time for Coach Johnston, but another one of those that's getting the opportunity when things are going a little bit wrong or they're not up to capability. You want to insert a couple fresh faces, try to get some more offense generated.
2 up, 2 down. Corey Lamb, the second baseman, steps up.
Lamb, another one that fits in with Livers like that, playing second base today. Came in at 228. Grounded out to the pitcher Hank Wheeler back in the second inning. On the season, 4 hits in 35 plate appearances. He's also drawn 4 walks and scored 8 runs. So once he gets on base, look for him to move around the bases a little bit. And you've got the 9-hitter and also 1 and 2 coming up after that.
Still a couple more games to go in our 91 regular season of SIAC high school baseball. As they watch this one go down and skate Matt Bollman, the shortstop. So it won't go 1, 2, 3. It's a 2-out single by Corey Lamb.
And that is the first Reitz hit since the 3 they produced back in the first inning. That'll bring up the pitcher Craig Angle, 267 coming in. He flew out to left fielder David Goebel back in the second inning.
Mentioned you'll see more high school baseball a little bit later on. This week it's Bossy and Wright, so Wright's Panther fans again can look forward to that on May the 10th, Friday night at 7 o'clock. Next week, North and Memorial, Harrison and Central. And then we'll see Wright's again on the 22nd. We'll see, well, Gator McBride and the Castle Knights come on in here.
You like that name, don't you?
Well, Tolly also is a big one, but very quietly is Gator McBride. The goal there in left field. And Wright's this time will leave 1. 4 come up in the top half of the 4th. And you're watching SIAC high school baseball on TV. Top of the 5th and top of the batting order, Ben Schmidt, the right fielder. Takes a look at strike 1 from still Craig Angle on the hill for the Wright's Panthers.
And as Wheeler has settled down, Craig has done the same thing, allowed 1 run on 2 base hits back in the first inning. Only 1 more hit, that off of the bat of Adam Hines back in the third inning. set him down 1-2-3 in the fourth, so his pitching is kind of progressing as the game goes on. You get a little bit more comfortable out there. Realize after you see the batters a time or two exactly what they're going to do as hitters, so you can basically work your pitches around what they're looking for.
2 balls and a strike on the outside corner. We were talking about some of the games upcoming. We talked about Legion Ball, and well, management and I are putting together a new show upcoming this fall, Doug. We'll preview and actually highlight a different school every week for a half hour. I believe we're going to put it on Sunday nights. We've got it all worked out except a name for the show. We've thought of prep time. We've thought of, well, Tom Turp wants to call something like Sports Locker. That may have to go, but...
Well, give me a little bit of time and I'll put my trusty brain to work and come up with a humdinger.
Any people out there watching tonight got an idea, give me a call in the morning. I don't want to go with Sports Locker.
Needs to be something different.
We'll be a show where we can highlight a school every week. Say we'll start with North and go to Rice. We'll put day school in as well, and Castle, and I guess that's 9 in the area. Then we'll start all over again. Sport of the season, or sports of the season. Louis Meredith, the shortstop. Worked out everything but a name.
This is the pitcher, Hank Wheeler, now 1 for 2, had that triple and scored a run back in the first inning and flew out deep to right field. Bill Hammonds back in the third inning.
2 big shots from Wheeler.
And once again, you see the defense of Reitz backing up, especially Hammonds in right field. Pretty close there at first base.
I think he got him.
Angle's got a pretty good move for a right-hander. We talk sometimes about the difficulty of trying to read a pitcher. A right-hander, a little bit easier sometimes than a left-hander, simply because the left-hander is facing you. You can basically see what you're doing, how big of a lead you exactly have. Right-hander, you really have to rely on your instincts. You can look at him at the corner of your eye, but you really have to have a good feeling of knowing exactly where he is and the right time to throw over there.
Well, by a couple of steps. Healthy lead here for Ben Schmidt. Talk about more good baseball coming to Bosse Field. Well, tomorrow night, you'll also see the Aces return out here. Just over the head of Corey Lamb, and on his way to third is Schmidt. Take of it standing up. Nice job to back him on up. Craig Angle, and a very smart pitcher will always back up who he needs to.
That's one of the fundamentals that you go through a lot during the preseason whenever you get into the field situations early in the year practicing. If you're a pitcher, you know anytime the ball's hit to the right side of the field, you have to get over and cover first base should the first baseman get pulled off. Another situation right there, anytime you've got a runner on first, a base hit to the outfield, you have to get over behind third in case there is a throw. In case of an overthrow like that, you be back there, prevent a run from scoring.
Jason Craddock, the catcher. We're talking about Aces and Wheeler. Those two will be an item on the same broadcast next year. On the outside, there's been maybe a handful that have gone to UE and USI. Not as many as I'd like to see, though. Athletes of all nature. Elkins decides to go to U of E. And, of course, Wheeler and Effinger here on the SIAC baseball will go to Evansville. Kyle Castle last year, or 2 years ago, left Reitz to go to USI.
And I think the longer that the programs are around, especially the coaches involved right now, Coach Brownlee and Gary Redmond out at USI in the baseball program, are going to try to use some of the local players. They can get a good chance of seeing them. They don't really have to spend a lot of time as far as recruitment. If they want to see them, they can come out here to Bosse Field or maybe one of the home games whenever they're not involved in league play or conference play like that. Don't have to worry so much about the travel expenses and everything. And as the case has been, especially the past few years, there's been a lot of talent here locally.
We joke about Memorial being the farm system for Jim Brownlee. Quentin Merkel, as a handful comes out of that program to go to the Aces.
I think the reason for that is Merkel does a good job with the basic fundamentals of baseball, and Coach Brownlee knows if he gets someone that's been at Memorial, he is not going to have to teach them how the game is played. They're basically going to know what to do in certain situations. And there we see another walk by Angle, the second this inning.
First time the bases have been loaded on either side. This time it's for North. They trail by a score of 2-1 here in the top half of the fifth. And there's just one out.
And control has been a little bit of a problem for Craig this afternoon. That is his fifth walk overall. Has also picked up one strikeout, that off of Wingirder back in the third inning. And here we see assistant coach Pryor for Reitz just going out, going to try to settle everything down. He's done a pretty good job. Struggled a little bit back in the first inning. His control has not been there most of the game. He just has to get back involved with the pitching aspect of the game, concentrate on what's at hand. You've got the bases loaded, one out. Don't worry so much about the runners right now. It's concentrating on the batter. Adam Hines has hurt you today. He's 2 for 2. Picked up an RBI back in the first inning and an infield single in the third. So as a coach, you just want to settle him down out there, kind of get him to recollect his thoughts a little bit and think like a pitcher once again.
Okie Pryor, pitching coach for Reitz, spent his college days at USI.
And does a good job working with the pitching staff. We've seen quite an improvement from last year versus this year, I have anyway, of Mike Fetcher, their ace, has really developed into a quality pitcher. Good fastball, knows when to bring in his breaking pitches, and has done an outstanding job this year.
Loaded up here for the North High Huskies. And they trail by one, top of the fifth again.
And the fans have finally awakened here at Bosse Field.
On the inside corner. North trying to go to 11-9 on the season. White's already at 500.
And usually whenever you see a coach or a manager go out and talk to his pitcher, he settles him down a little bit and comes back with some good pitches. Here we see a possible double play and just a bad hop.
Corey Lamb can only go to Charles Gilmore. This game is tied. Tied at 2 with 2 away, top of the fifth.
Did basically what he was supposed to do. He had worked the count to 2-0, fall behind, so he had to come in with a strike. Got a ground ball situation, just a funny hop down there at second base for Lamb, but he stayed with it, did a good job, recovered, and still had time to get him at first.
Not a bad hit ball, and take another look, Todd Hayes over his head. North will jump on top easy with that one. Just a punch of the North High bats.
And from the crack of the bat, Todd Hayes had no chance on that. He was kind of unsure as soon as it was hit. He started in a little bit, then realized he needed to go back. He almost turned in a circle out there, trying to locate the ball after he retreated a little bit, but it was way over his head all the way to the fence for a 2 RBI double off the bat of Brucken.
More come in here. Hertwig.
Kevin, the second baseman, 0 for 1 today. Reached on a walk back in the second inning and popped out to the shortstop back in the fourth inning.
That should be some damage here done by North as Meredith goes to Gilmore. North jumps back on top. And you're watching the 1991 SIAC right here on TV 52. Bottom of the fifth inning, and the lead belongs to the North High Huskies. It's 4-2. And the Reitz Panthers looking to get it going at the top of the lineup.
Bullock, Hart, and Hayes due up for Reitz here in the bottom half of the fifth. More times than not, whenever you issue walks, it's going to come back and haunt you. Angle struggled a little bit that inning, ended up walking 2 men, and both of those eventually came around to score. So if you've got control problem, you're going to pay for it sooner or later. And hopefully, for Reitz' sake, they can get some offense going here in the bottom half of the fifth. Top of the lineup, this is the place you're going to start it.
One of the candidates for all SIAC catcher here on TV 52, Kevin Bullock, fouls that one off.
Do you realize how tough this is going to be to come up with a starting 9?
Just to pick the pitcher. We've got Fetcher, we've got Forshee, Wiggins. On the inside.
You might have put our head on the chopping block. I mean, we'll come up with one, but we might.
Well, someone would say something like, he should have got it, or Leadoff base hit to left field. David Goebel comes in.
Well, I'm not so worried about what somebody else will say. I'm just going to try to come up with a starting 9, and it's going to be tough because you have such good athletes around here, and the potential of everybody that we're going to pick, you know, will obviously continue on their baseball career if possible. But with the averages and the pitching staffs that are around the city this year, it's going to be a job. But I have faith in this.
Down low here in front of Craddock, and an easy pass for Kevin Bullock. Reitz comes right back and attacks.
Excellent jumper there off of Wheeler, the pitcher. Not really a chance at all for Jason Craddock to even get an attempted throw off. That ball was down in the dirt, so he had no play at all.
1-0 pitch. Finds the corner.
Scott Hart, the DH this afternoon, 1 for 1, had the big RBI triple back in the first inning and reached on a walk back in the third.
Tougher part of the Reitz batting order. Hart, Hayes, and Gilmore. Bullock already ready to come across. 4-2, North High. Reitz is out hitting North for the moment, 5-4. Nice little scoop there by Bollman. Has a long way to go, and it's not in time. Nice to save it, though, anyway.
That's another good example of the defense played by the city high schools here in Evansville. That ball is hit sharply to the right side of the shortstop. Bollman did a good job just to get a glove on the ball and keep the runner Bullock at second base. Should that have gotten through, he would have gone to third. I doubt if he would have scored. It was hit so hard. But once again, if you get the ball, keep it in the infield, you're going to keep those runners at the bases, and not enough on the throw to get the speedy Hart at first.
Talk about athletes well put together. Take a look here at Todd Hayes, and the bases are loaded for Reitz as that one hits on the in the top of the thigh there.
I think it got him in the arm.
Did it? Was somewhere upstairs.
Around the elbow area, and it wasn't a real hard pitch, but anytime you're going to catch a ball straight from the pitcher on the flesh area, and hopefully it will hit the meaty part versus somewhere in the bone area, and I think it might have got him on the elbow, the way he's walking around down there and holding his arm.
Bases loaded here for Reitz and nobody out.
And if you're Hank Wheeler, this is not what you want to happen. You just got 3 runs in the top half of this inning to take a 4-2 lead. You just basically want to come out and throw strikes, and so far giving up 2 base hits and then that wild pitch hitting Hayes. That'll bring up first baseman Charles Gilmore, 1 for 2 this afternoon, had an RBI single in the first and flew out to Gable in left field back in the third.
Hayes is in pain, just a tad. I think it's one of those when it first hit, you didn't realize it, or maybe you did, but it kind of stings after a while.
Well, especially if it catches you on one of the bone areas, and right now we're kind of blocked, so I can't really tell exactly where it hit him, but the way he was holding his arm, it appeared to be in the elbow area. And it is his left arm, so it will not affect his throw should he be able to stay in this ball game.
Gilmore due up here, and the table is set for him. Reitz needs something as they trail by 2 in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Reitz now hitting North 6-4. Here comes that offense we talked about.
And we have a pinch runner in at first base for Todd Hayes. That is Timmy Bell coming in, and
Wingert has that one from center field, and they're not going to test the arm. Nobody moves, and now a play here at the plate. At home, and if he had thrown it maybe a second earlier, Bullock was gone.
Well, not really good base running in the initial part of that play by Reitz. All 3 runners were taking off thinking that that ball was going to be hit, especially if you're a runner at third base. You have to go immediately to the bag. If it's caught, tag up and then go. If it's a base hit, you're going to score easily. Both the runner from second and third took off. They had to go back to the bag. Smart play there by Wingert, getting the ball back in, almost doubling up Hart at second base.
On the outside here from Wheeler, he can get out of it very cheaply if North can turn a double play. For the moment now, it's 4-3. The Huskies on top by that 1. Meredith Meredith on deck here to the batter, Hammonds. Livers, Lamb, Angle. Again, rounding out the Reitz 9.
And I guess you have to score that a sacrifice fly, huh?
It was hit deep enough. I think Bullock should have went in the first place. Battling the sun here, Wingirder. 2 away. Nobody moves this time.
Going to bring out the shortstop, Louis Meredith, 0 for 2 today. Flew out to right field back in the first inning and bounced out to the pitcher back in the fourth inning. Overall average coming into today's play, Louis was at 346. Picked up a total of 17 hits and 49 plate appearances. Also walked 10 times, 2 doubles, a triple, and picked up 14 RBIs.
2 on for him. Matt Bollman, easy force here. Kevin Hertwig covering there at second base. So maybe rather cheaply after the bases loaded, only 1 score. And this time North will leave 2. We've played 5 complete. And our score, North High 4, and the Reitz Panthers 3. Designated hitter Ryan Connolly to lead things off here for the North High Huskies. Welcome to the top half of the 6th inning. And North has the lead by a score of 4-3. It'll be Connolly, Bollman back on top to Ben Schmidt.
8, 9, and 1 due up here for North, and they struggled a little bit in the first inning. Got a good pitching job the next 3 innings out of Hank Wheeler. He struggled a little bit the last inning. I think fortunate that Reitz was able to only score 1 run. Anytime you get the bases loaded with a no-out situation and only score 1 run, it's going to come back and get you the most part of the time, and I'm sure Coach Johnson and the Panthers are a little bit disappointed in that, but you really have to put that out of your mind. Concentrate right now on this top of the 6th inning. You've got 2 more at-bats. Hopefully you can get something going then.
Field again looks in pretty good condition. Another great May Day.
Is that your call for help?
No. May Day, yeah. On the outside corner.
Connolly 0 for 2 today. Ground out victim to the shortstop back in the 2nd inning and flew out to left field back in the 4th inning.
Hard hitter here, Dennis Maynard. Getting the throw a bit off. And a lot of Maynard's throws today have been off. He's made the fielding play, but he's forced several times Charles Gilmore to move it first.
And a defensive change for Reitz. Left field, Timmy Bell stays in the ballgame, so Todd Hayes apparently hit a little bit harder than we initially thought, probably in some pain down there, and just basically giving him a little rest right now. Probably got some ice on that.
Left fielder up and over the head. As we talk about that one. Stand-up double. Nice hit by your number 9 batter, Bollman. That was at bat what? Number 5 for him.
Came in at 333. Only 1 hit and 3 plate appearances, so 1 for 2 now this afternoon with that double. Not a very good sign as far as the left fielder coming in, the second batter, giving you guys a little bit of action out there in left field. Once again, not really getting a good jump on the ball. Saw it was over his head, almost did a 360 out there, turned one way and then eventually turned the other way, but that ball was just too hard hit to catch.
That is it for Craig Angle, just like that. Almost without warning, Steve Johnson wants to call in someone else to take over the duties. Here in the top half of the 6th inning, our score is still 4-3, and that's in favor of North, but they're threatening for more. We'll be back, more SIAC baseball on TV 52. First pitching change, second defensive change for the Reitz Panthers. Bell in left field for Hayes on the injury, and maybe Craig Angle ran out of gas. This will be Roger Gady.
Well, he struggled a little bit back in the 5th inning, so I'm sure that Coach Johnson decided beginning of this inning here, if he struggled once again, that he was going to go to the pen. Gady making his 4th appearance on the season. He's pitched in 14 1/3 innings of work, allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, all of those earned. Issued 8 walks and picked up 18 strikeouts, so he has got a lot of control out there as far as his fastball and breaking pitch. A lot of strikeouts, 18 and 14 1/3 innings, and you want to get a ratio of 2 strikeouts for every 1 walk as a pitcher.
Getty, a big kid. Tall, and sometimes that's intimidating. We'll see what Getty throws here.
This is right fielder Ben Schmidt, 0 for 2 this afternoon, grounded out back in the first inning, hit into a fielder's choice in the second, and drew a walk and scored an inning ago back in the fifth.
One away, but North threatens with more. Big cut. See what Getty's got here on the outset. 0-2 on the outside. How about a strikeout?
Not too bad of work coming straight out of the bullpen, throwing 3 pitches and getting an out like that. But we know he's a strikeout pitcher. You can tell that from his stats. That'll bring up center fielder Dion Wingirter. 0 for 3 today. Flew out back in the first inning, a strikeout victim in the third inning, and popped out to the shortstop in the fifth.
Dangerous Hank Wheeler on deck, but 2 away. North's trying to pad a 4-3 lead for the moment. Take a look at a nice pitch on the outside corner.
He's got some pretty good velocity on his fastball, and he's going to try to use that early in the count to get those strikes early and then come in with his off-speed stuff.
Look at this. Coming in looking to strike him out back-to-back. Count going his way. 1-2. And played with that one. Wingirter has one down there at second. A little tap to the outfield could score him with the speed of Bollman. Just go for your option, Dennis. Down there at first base. Almost didn't get it in time. 3 away, and Getty comes in and gets the job done just like that. We played 5 1/2, and North's on top by 1. Our score 4-3. And you're watching the 1991 SIAC on TV 52. Alongside Doug Hemmick, I'm Darren Smith. Bottom half of the 6th inning. And the Reitz Panthers have a little bit of work to do. It'd be nice sometimes to get it now if you're right, other than put the pressure on in the final 3. That's obvious. Livers, Lamb, and Angle.
7, 8, and 9 due up for Reitz here in the bottom of the 6th. Livers 0 for 2. Popped out to the third baseman back in the first inning and flew out to right field back in the 4th inning.
Hard hit ball. That'd be tough for Wheeler to get anyway. Zoomed right past him to Wingirter in center field. So again, your leadoff batter is on.
It's zoomed. Zoom.
Working on vocab.
Sound effects.
I was going to bring a variety of terms with you to the press box.
Well, yeah, I used dying quail last week, and you never heard of that.
Oh, I heard of it. I hadn't heard it used in a long time.
Oh.
It's like drawing the horse collar. Today we use Ophir. Zoom's just a 90s word.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Corey Lamb, the second baseman, 1 for 2 this afternoon. And there we see another sacrifice bunt. A good job doing his job getting the runner over to second.
They're bobbled for a second, but you're right, the job is done. Livers down at second. 1 away. Angle would be due up here. But we're going to see Getty.
Since he relieved Craig, he is going to bat for him.
Got some good size to him. Let's see what he's got at the bat. That down low. 1-0 from Wheeler. Tying run for Reitz down there at second base, and Livers foul that one back. 1-1. Go back on top to Bullock after Getty.
On the season, Getty has only appeared at the plate 3 times. Has picked up a single, so his batting average at .333. Not really a lot of at bats, so not really sure exactly what he can do, but here he scores a run.
That in between 2, and before you fault an error, and I guess you may have to, that was a very tough ball to field.
Well, that was kind of hit right into the middle, and between the second baseman Hertwick and shortstop Bollman, both coming on the same time. Probably Matt had the best shot as he was going towards first base, but I think that ball was hit too much in between. Had he come up with the ball, I don't even know that he would have had a play at first, so I'm giving him a base hit.
Officially up here in the press box, also a hit. Up the middle and between two. Both Bollman and Hart were there. We are tied at 4.
So with one swing of the bat, his average goes from 333 to 500.
Not bad.
This is the catcher, Kevin Bullock, 1 for 2 this afternoon. Drew a walk and a stolen base and scored back in the first inning. Strikeout victim back in the second inning and picked up a single and stole another base and came around to score in the 5th.
North wants to try to double them up. With 1 away here. Getty moves out by a couple at first base. I wonder if Hayes will re-enter either now or later on for Reitz.
On the high school rules, you are allowed any starter in the original starting lineup can be removed and re-enter once again. It'd be interesting to see if he'll be able to come back and swing a bat. Being hit like that, I'm sure he's going to have some swelling down there, and I'm sure they've got some ice on the arm right now trying to reduce it. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here for North.
We saw it earlier for the Reitz Panthers when Getty came in. He batted and brought in the tying run. He's now at first base. New pitcher for North. We're back to tell you about him when SIAC High School Baseball continues on TV 52. Brian Hebner, the new pitcher for the North High Huskies, a familiar athletic name to, well, a couple of sports out there for the Huskies.
Football player, basketball player, and now baseball. Had an injury during the basketball season, so he was not with the team early, still recuperating a little bit. Then he caught some mononucleosis or something like that, so he missed a couple more games during the baseball season.
Taken for a base hit. Goal in left field. And now it's first and seconds for the Reitz Panthers. Hank Wheeler threw 84 pitches, 30 of them in the first inning, Doug.
Well, that was the inning he struggled, ended up giving up 2 runs on 3 base hits. Overall, gave up 2 walks, also hit a batter, that Todd Hayes, back in the 5th inning, also picked up 3 strikeouts. So anytime you throw a lot of pitches, especially for Hank, since he's not usually a pitcher, not used to throwing that many pitches, you're going to run into a fatigue factor right there, and I think Coach Sparrow just wanted him to get out there, maybe relax a little bit, get his offensive bat in gear. So
we've seen 2 of the household names at North on the hill today in Wheeler and Hebner. They've got some good athletes out there at North. Elisa Kim, Brandy Krug. Just to name a couple. Big cut there.
This is the DH, Scotty Hart, 2 for 2 this afternoon. Picked up an RBI triple and scored back in the 1st inning and drew a walk in the 3rd inning and had a single, infield single to the shortstop back in the 5th inning.
1-2. Upstairs, Braddock couldn't find it. Now it's below us.
And if you're right, this is the prime opportunity for you to score a couple more runs. You've tied the ball game up here with 1 so far here in the bottom of the 6th. Runners on 1st and 2nd, only 1 man out. And you've got the number 2 hitter, 3 and 4 to follow. So it's prime time for Coach Johnston and the Panthers to get something going here.
2-2 pitch. A little bunt right back to Hebner. Hebner has to wait for first baseman Brucken to get there. But it's 2nd and 3rd now for Reitz. And even though there's 1 away, your go-ahead run is 90 feet away.
And an unusual situation right there, a 2-2 count. You see a bunt. Very rarely do you see, especially on the high school level, a 2-strike bunt attempt. But Scott Hart has the bat control up there. Coach Johnson had enough confidence in him to know that he could get it in fair territory.
There's 2 away. This is Tim Bell.
And that just gives you more time to put runners at 2nd, 3rd now. Base hit, you're going to score 2 runs, whereas if he would have got out, you would have still had 1st and 2nd and maybe only 1 run crossing the plate.
Down low. Been loaded a couple of times. Each team has had that honor. Gilmore on deck. But again, 2 away.
Bell comes up here his first time at the plate this afternoon after coming in after Todd Hayes, the original starter, got hit by a pitch back in the 5th inning. On the season, Bell at 285, picked up a total of 7 base hits in 11 plate appearances, or 14 plate appearances.
No matter what happens here, we're headed for a very interesting top half of the 7th inning. Craddock. Good ball, then I guess we'll see Hebner instead of Wheeler. Loaded up here for Reitz.
I bet you can almost count on the re-entry rule coming into effect, getting Hank back in there to start that inning off. Bases loaded now, 2 men are out, so North really just has to get a ground ball situation here. You got to force at any base. Gilmore, the batter, 1 for 2 this afternoon, picked up a single and an RBI back in the 1st inning, flew out to left field in the 3rd inning and had a sacrifice fly and picked up an RBI in the 5th.
Lackadaisical cut there by Gilmore.
I believe he was fooled with that pitch, looking for some type of fastball off of the delivery from Hebner, and had him fooled, came in with some type of off-speed pitch way out in front of that ball.
Upstairs, better hold on. Dion Wingert is the one who
Can't
loses
find it.
We have seen more drop that way, and this one really may cost him. Reitz jumps on top, putting the extra pressure on North at the top of the 7th, and we're not out of this one yet.
And it looks like the sun has gotten a little bit brighter since we talked about it a couple innings ago. The clouds have kind of moved away, so the sun field out in center field, you're looking straight up in it, and he never saw it from the beginning. You could see him out there. He was basically holding his hands out, trying to get some type of help from his teammates. And there's not really a lot you can do as a fielder in that situation. You just basically have to wait until it hits and then pick it up.
I remember Spalding, to the past, used to wear sunglasses out there.
A lot of these high school players try to, but it's a tough adjustment, especially with the flip-up type, if you're not used to using them. And there we see a booted ball.
Something happens to North here in this inning. 3 across another, and now 2nd and 3rd. Gilmore holds up at 3rd base. And the Huskies have fallen apart here. Start out with the sun in center field, and it got worse.
And that was the perfect situation, as Hebner wanted to get a ground ball situation, hopefully get an easy out and get out of this inning with only 2 runs crossing the plate, but that one kind of just misplayed down there by Herwick at 2nd base. As slow as the ball was hit, you almost have to charge it so it doesn't take a bad hop, or it's going to get an in-between hop. If you come in and charge it, pick it up as soon as you can. That way you have a better chance of getting the runner at first.
Louis Meredith, the shortstop, wants it to continue, wants to pad it up.
Meredith 0 for 3 today, flew out back in the 1st inning, bounced out meekly to the pitcher Hank Wheeler back in the 4th inning, and reached on a fielder's choice back in the 5th.
Hebner wants to say goodbye to it. This may find the mark. Ben Schmidt comes over and in, and that is it. Putting the pressure on the North High Huskies. So we say the last chance for North High comes to the top of the 7th. Next on TV 52. Our score 7-4. And again, we say last call for the North High Huskies, top half of the 7th inning. Re-entry rule. Well, you nailed it, Doug. Why not? Hank Wheeler, Jason Craddock, and Adam Hines.
Anytime you can have your leading hitter up at the plate and you still have your re-entry rule in effect, you can guarantee he's going to be back out there and does just what he's supposed to do. Get a piece of the ball, base hits.
Eddie gets out of the way of that one. Screamer up the middle. Leadoff single.
You see we've had a zoomer and a screamer now. Jason Craddock, the catcher, due up now, has reached base all 3 times this afternoon via walk. Stolen base back in the 3rd inning and also came around to score a run back in the 5th inning.
Huskies fans, he's a trail by 3. It's down low. Anytime you're in a situation like this, you want Wheeler and Craddock involved in it.
If at all possible. And you've also got Adam Hines, who is 2 for 3 this afternoon, came in today's game at 4-13, so this is the part of the lineup that North is expecting to do some damage, and this is the last time at bat, so if they're going to do it, they have to do it now.
This could be the first in our series of a TV 52 fantastic finish. It's hit to right field. Bill Hammonds has to go way over. Hank Wheeler here at third, and they're going to hold him second and third. Wise move by Danny Sparrow.
And not that we're showing favoritism for one team or another, but this is a good baseball game. Anytime you can come into the 7th inning, bottom of the 6th inning, Reitz was down. They put 4 across to take a 7-4 lead, and now North is threatening once again. 2 batters, 2 base hits, second and third now, still nobody out. Adam Hines, we mentioned 2 for 3, has picked up a pair of RBIs today.
He represents the tying run. Nobody out here in the top half of the 7th inning. It's number 6 and 7 here for North. They're being out-hit 9-7, outscored 7-4, reaching for this one. And it's a pop-up here to Gilmore, just in foul territory, and that hurts.
Well, you still got 2 more outs, and especially with 6 and 7 coming up. Brucken today, 1 for 3. Had the big 2 RBI double back in the 5th inning when North took the lead, so he is capable. Reached on a fielder's choice back in the 1st inning and grounded out to the 3rd baseman back in the 3rd inning. And after Getty came in, set him down 1-2, the only 2 batters he faced in the 6th inning, has struggled a little bit here starting off the 7th.
The outside corner. Getty coming back strong. He's a strikeout pitcher. It's 0-2. And for the moment here, Brucken represents the tying run. 0-2 pitch. Hard on the ground. There's one of the required 3, but 2 away. Wheeler now 90 feet away. Actually, he's being pinch run for.
Kevin Hertwig, the second baseman, up now 0 for 2 this afternoon. Reached on a walk back in the 2nd inning. Flew out to the shortstop back in the 4th inning and grounded out to the shortstop in the 5th.
On the inside. Connolly, if need be, on deck. He's a DH.
This is the first control problem we've seen from Roger since he's been in. Picked up a strikeout on the first batter. He faced Schmidt back in the 6th inning and got a ground ball out to get out of that inning. This is his first walk, so North rally is still alive.
7-5. Tying run at first. Connolly's got some power.
See a confrontation right there. I'm sure Coach Sparrow just telling him to relax up there, maybe giving him a take until he gets a strike. Getty falling behind a little bit so far here. And there you see we come back with a good pitch in the strike zone area, so has done his job so far. And now Ryan can get in there, look for his type of pitch, and hopefully drive in the outfield, score at least 1. If it's deep enough in the gap, maybe he can score Hertwig from first.
Bollman on deck. We've seen what he can do already today. That one on the outside corner. First and third for the Huskies. Outside, just a bit high.
Didn't miss by much, but that's a luxury that you can have when you're ahead of the count, 0-2 like that. Come with something maybe away from the plate a little bit, up in the strike zone.
1-2 pitch will do it again.
Good piece of hitting there right by Ryan. Something around the strike zone. You know it's close enough that he's going to have to swing at it. Try to get a piece of it, stay alive. Hopefully, in his sake, Getty will come back with something that might be a little bit too good for him to go.
2. A reminder of viewers that coming up tonight after the game, you'll see the press box where features this week include City Track. Also a press conference with baseball great Don Drysdale. That's tonight following the game. First and third, 2-2 pitch. We'll do it again. This is nail-biting time. Baseball doesn't get any better than this. North trying to go to 11-9. Down low. You could put the tying run at second if Connolly has walked here.
Well, you got a 3-2, 2-out situation, so Hertwick will be moving with the pitch at first base. That way an extra base hit will probably allow him to score. And that will be the eventual tying run, so this is it right here. The game is on the line.
Both benches are up. 3-2, 2 away, 2 on. Our score 7-5 for the moment. Here's Getty on the outside. It's it. The Panthers come back to beat the North High Huskies. And the Huskies dropped to 10-10 and one up over 500. Now the Reitz High Panthers 11-10. Getty comes in to slam the door down after North made it very interesting, Doug.
Well, we saw the first inning 3 runs scored, and we thought we might see an offensive outburst from both teams, and then the pitching kind of took over for the next 3 or 4 innings. Damage done by North in the 5th inning. Reitz came right back in the bottom of the 6th inning, putting 4 runs, regaining the lead, and just a good pitching job there by Getty coming in a relief fashion.
We're watching another great baseball game from Bosse Field here on a Wednesday night. Again, our final score, Reitz High 7, North High 5. We'll wrap it up. An evening of SIAC baseball on TV 52. It's Hart, 2 hits for you today. I helped and contribute a big win, 7-5. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Little tendonitis you were talking about. Break from the hill?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of pitching, playing a lot of outfield, and I guess my arm's got a little too sore to handle it. So, I've been out for about a week and a half on a throwing. So I've been doing a lot of DHing lately.
Getting late in the season, goals you're setting, maybe the team. A big win here today, I guess.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We've had our spots, we've been down sometimes, up sometimes, but I think we got a good shot at hitting the sectional, if we can get our pitching together and throw strikes.
Do you see offense or defense as the key to this Reitz team?
We got a good defense right now, so I think offense, we get our offense going, we got a real good shot.
Coach Johnston priming, I guess, for what is anybody's grab in the postseason.
Excuse me?
Coach Johnston getting you guys ready for anybody's grab, I think, in the postseason.
Yeah, it's just going to be an open field. Just pretty much anybody can get it.
Do you worry about one particular team? Now, we got Memorial out of there. Do you worry about maybe a Harrison or something?
I think Harrison's the one team we'd have trouble with because over the years, we haven't beat Harrison yet. We really like to do that, so we're looking forward to that. We got another game with them in the regular season. Like to get that and hope to see him in the sectional, but it's pretty much open field. Anybody can win it.
In the DH role today, any idea when you'll be back in the field?
I'm looking to start throwing little pitches on Thursday against Bosse. I don't know if I'll start to get some relief, may not, but I've been throwing out there in the bullpen. I've been throwing pretty good, so anytime.
Scott, a couple hits here today, and helped 7-5. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All righty, Scott Hart will wrap it up with Doug Emig after this timeout. Tonight, Doug Emig, Scott Hart didn't do bad.
Shows you right there it's never over till it's over. Reitz got down a little bit after North put together 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning. They came back with 1 in the 6th. The 5th inning, and then the big 4-run output in the 6th. Basically, both clubs played a good ball game. Not really one fundamental mistake out there. A couple balls were hit deep out in the left field. Had trouble locating the ball, and then we saw the sun ball out in center field where North had no chance of catching it. But overall, the offense was there. The defense, pretty good job this afternoon by both teams.
Another MVP comes in late, Mr. Getty.
Came in and did his job. Looking at his stats, we talked about it up in the box a little bit. Knew he was a strikeout pitcher, and he did what he had to do. He fell behind a little bit. Gave up a couple base hits here in the top of the 7th inning. North came back with 1 run, but after that, shut the door down and came back with good quality pitches.
On the other side, no surprises. Hank Wheeler, Jason Craddock.
You can't really say enough about the way North is hitting. Defense has not been there some of the times, and the pitching not really there today. Hank struggled a little bit, threw a lot of pitches, got behind in the count. And when you do that, you're going to run into the fatigue factor, and I think that's what happened today, not being used to throwing that many pitches, mainly his job behind the plate. So I think he ran out of gas, and Hebner came in, did a pretty good job, but when you throw that many pitches, it's going to get you sooner or later.
We've seen everybody at least once. Any picks going into the postseason this early?
You can't really limit it to one team right now. It's going to be pretty much a wide-open race, especially with everybody gearing up towards sectional play. They're going to try to get things going their way. Offense is going to be there. The defense, we've seen it all year long, so it should be a good sectional. I still say the draw is going to be the main thing. Whoever draws who first, maybe get some of the potential leaders there early, knock somebody off, and then you got a door course maybe coming in the back door.
Maybe this year more than ever. Our next look at Reitz and Bosse will be on Friday night. Our next high school game, don't forget tomorrow night, more with the Evansville Aces when they take on Middle Tennessee. A final out here, it's Reitz over North, 7-5. For our producers Greg Hallam and Todd Suter. For Doug Emig, I'm Darren Smith. Good night.